everyone, and welcome back to the Grimm Chronicles. My name is Cathie Grimm, and the channel is the Grimm Reader, and I'm here to give you my weekly reading update, wrap-up, chat, whatever you want to call it. And I always do it on Tuesdays, and so far so good. This is the 88th time in a row I've done this, so pretty impressive for me. School has started and it's been a little bit rough for me because I have this way of anticipatory dislike of things that are coming my way, because this semester I'm teaching 2 sections of my beloved fairy tale class, which means I will have a lot of grading to do because they have to write these reading journals, and I am completely committed to this a form of an assignment. So it's not like I want to change that, because I do think it's fits what I want them to do and what fits the class, and it's you know, it's not. Anyway, I'm committed to the type of assignment, but it will mean that frequently throughout the semester I'll have a pile of stuff to grade, more than last semester. I was looking at the beginning video for last semester, and it was all different because they were still masked, and I was teaching 2 sections of the beginning German, and I think only maybe I was just teaching beginning German, so no wonder I wasn't as stressed. It doesn't matter, I'm not that stressed. I will get over it and everything will be fine. I will just get used to the routine, but it is such a jolt to the system to go from having no commitments, or very few, to being completely strapped into dealing with the teaching issues. It's fine. It'll be fine. My reading has been a little bit all over the place. I mean, I still have the same 2 books that I've been showing you for a while. So Vor dem Sturm, the German book, and the other German book, the Austrian writer Thomas Bernhard's. So let's see if I can put in, apologies for my chin in the camera. So Wittgenstein's Nephew and Vor dem Sturm, and that doesn't help you much, but see, that's the title right there. I've lost the cover, and it was actually a nice cover. It was a little beat up, but I took it off. This is why I tend not to take them off, because then they disappear. And they're both going well, but slowly, as I keep saying. This is just such a delight. I mean, it's just 19th century coziness all the way, and is specifically connected to pressure. It might be like, it's almost like perhaps a little conservative, because it's not really, he's not Dostoevsky. But I like his the political stuff, and I like how the people in the town, like the head of the household, the highest up in the hierarchy, they're having this issue with people robbing them, and they actually go and like form a posse, so to speak, and go find the people who are robbing them. And it turns out to be these 2 people who they knew, sort of layabouts. And then, for example, the daughter of the household, she is told about the fact that one of them has a wife who had a little child in a cart, and she would sort of follow them along quietly and just kind of be stoic about the whole thing. And then Renate, the daughter, has this image of this woman with her baby, and has a lot of sympathy for her, or empathy with this woman who's kind of being put into this situation by these men around her. So there's that kind of thing going on, and it's quite well done, I think, as opposed to a book I'll get to where I don't think this sort of the humanistic side is very well done, but we'll get to that in a second. Now this one, I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research, but I did find one really interesting article, but really hard because it's written in this German. It was written like a while ago, maybe in the 60s, like when it came out, the book. And it's a scholarly article, but it's really, it's German lit-crit jargon can be a little hard to take, but it's getting at the fact that Bernhard's doing something really interesting that I haven't quite figured out. I was sort of hinting at it because of the way his sentences are never ending, and he piles things on. So he's really doing something with sentence building. And of course, what he's trying to do is, it's sort of like a literary commentary on Wittgensteinian language philosophy, I think. So it's coming at it from a kind of literary way, but I don't know enough about Wittgenstein. I'll have to finish reading this article and get back to you. But what's amazing to me is, despite the fact that these sentences really call attention to themselves, to the point where I could still see a lot of people saying, oh, I've had enough of this. This is just silly. It's sort of self-involved. But no, I actually kind of like it. It makes me want to read on. And it's okay, so for people who remember the big book that I actually gave up on for other reasons, the Duck book, the one that was one sentence, what was it called? Oh gosh, blue and red cover. What was it called? Anyway, that big long book, the Duck book, it was one sentence, you know what I mean? And so that too, so whenever there's a style that calls attention to itself, I actually kind of enjoy discerning the plot that is sort of in there, and the bits of fragments of plot that you saw in that book too. I didn't get very far with it, but you sort of see, for me with that book, as I recall, it's so annoying that I don't remember the title. I'll probably have a picture of it here the whole time. So is how, like, what I became obsessed with there was the passing of time. How time was moving along as she was getting her kids ready for school, and at some point they left for school and she was on her own. And so it's as if all we're getting is her internal stuff while she's going through her day, which I did find kind of fascinating. And I never got to the point where the other narrative kind of jutted in, the one about the animal, I guess. And it's the same thing. And so, of course, I think what is going to happen, I'm pretty sure, I don't think it's a big spoiler, is that I don't think he's ever actually going to visit the person, his friend, in the asylum, the other pavilion of this health complex. He's ruminating on what it would mean to visit him or be visited by him. And I'm pretty sure it's never going to happen. They are never going to meet, unless at the very end, and it'll be, the climax of the story. So the whole book is about thinking about his friend and thinking about other things, and about going off on rants about the medical establishment and how awful doctors are, but then also kind of retreating from that and contradicting themselves. So the narrator it's sort of like, not even like an unreliable narrator, but in a certain sense, an mentally unstable narrator. But that's part of it. It's kind of, and this article is getting at the fact that by constructing his novel in this way, he's sort of trying to point out the mental instability of everyone and everything, in a certain, the craziness of modernity, the plight of the modern person. I'm sort of, I haven't read the whole article, but I think that's what it's going through. So in a kind of philosophical way, so man against the world. So I'm still enjoying it. I'm on page 58 of, not that long. See, I remember thinking, oh, I can read this in a week. But because of life and me, nope, it's taking a while too. So because of it, for a while there, I was frustrated with not finishing anything. And so I quickly read this tiny little book, Stagdale Part 2. So this is a beautiful little graphic novel, very, very interesting pictures about this little boy who is sent to England, Jewish boy, during the Second World War. And this is the second part, because the first part was a young girl moving into the house in the 60s, I think, in England, and then finding his diary hidden in the walls. And so this is the second part where we find out about the boy. So this was a very, very quick read because it's very thin and it's just pictures. This would be great for kids who are kind of interested in history, or I do think the artwork is quite delightful, sort of simplistic. Chris Ware, maybe, like that guy who does the New Yorker stuff. I really, really enjoy it. And it does come with music too that I think I downloaded the music, but I didn't set it up so I could listen to it while I'm reading it, which I should have done. And it does say at the end to be continued. So this is obviously a series that is coming out. See, this is the final little panel, to be continued. It's just delightful. And that didn't take me very long. But then it was, I mean, it's silly, but it was frustrating because it's not on Goodreads. And now, in case you haven't noticed, since I'm someone who routinely had to add my own books because they just didn't have them, you can't add your own books to Goodreads. And so like this one, they have other editions of it, but they don't have this edition because it was from a Book of the Month Club type thing in Germany that my father belonged to. And then I got the books too, and they don't have this one on there. So I can't find the exact same edition. And so the kind of OCD part of me is a little bit frustrated that I'm not able to have the right edition with that one. And the only way you can add a book now is you ask in the group, the librarian groups. Correct me if you know another way. You ask in the group, Goodreads group of librarians, can you please add this book? And you give them all the information, and hopefully they will get around to adding it. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So, you know, there's an extra book that I finished on my Goodreads because it keeps telling me I'm behind in my reading. And I only said I want to read 39 books because that's the very low amount of books I read last year. Slow reader. So coming down now, so I did actually also finish Midnight Tides, the fantasy novel. I don't know if I had finished it last week. No, maybe not. But I pretty soon finished it. And since my husband had really enjoyed this next novel, I thought, well, I'll give it a go on the audio. And it was a total dud for me. And that is Richard Powell's Bewilderment. I'll put a picture up here. And I think part of it was my mood, my kind of anxious preschool mood. So I'm kind of irritable and cranky anyway. Plus, now this was the same narrator, I don't know, remember the name, who narrated the Knausgard autobiographical stuff, my struggle. The last one that I listened to was his sort of turning into a teenager. And I really loved that narrative for Knausgard, and I really kind of connected the two in my head. So that narrator, who's kind of also an actor, he's Knausgard in my head. And to have him pop in and be just reading this, in my opinion, extremely mediocre novel was a bit jarring. And I just did not care for it. And I don't want to go on too much of a rant because other people loved it. And I just was bewildered at how annoyed I was by the whole thing, by the voice of the narrator, by the relationship with his son, which I thought was, you know, I keep asking silly questions like, why does this man have no friends, no friend group? I mean, if you have a challenging kid to look after, wouldn't you, you know, kind of, I guess it's all a part of the fact that he's a busy professor and he doesn't have time for doing that, but he doesn't have a friend group. He doesn't have a support group that would help him with a difficult child like this. He's completely on his own. He's a widow, and so very sad. But I was not moved by it. I was like, this is like a Lifetime movie. This is just not good. And I just was not convinced by any of it. And so I just DNF'd it before I got more and more upset with it. And it does give me pause regarding Overstory. Maybe, I mean, all the other Powers that I've ever read is Three Men at a Farmer's Dance, his first novel, which is actually kind of interesting, and I read it a long time ago. And he seems like a wonderful fellow. I remember reading interviews of him and how he taught at Urbana and married to a French professor. But I didn't get around to reading anything else until this, and maybe that was a mistake. So maybe he's written so many other books, and I've had some of the other books in my hands and then just didn't finish them or didn't get very far with them either. A lot of them, they're pretty thick. So I gave up on Bewilderment because I was bewildered at how great it was and what everyone saw in it. Because I didn't like the portrayal of, I said to my husband, I didn't really like the portrayal of his wife because it was sort of male gazy, but my husband could say, well, it's his portrayal, it's how he saw her. I'm like, yeah, and I didn't like it. So yeah, my husband reads very differently and for different things. So yeah. Anyway, so I didn't even start a new one yet because I don't really know. I think I might give myself a break from audiobooks and just listen to music while I do my chores for a while. Cleanse the palate. I don't really feel like jumping right back into a big long fantasy novel. They're so long. I like Bewilderment was 7 hours, and Midnight Tides was, I think it was like over 40 hours. So it's like, I think that's right. So extremely long, but more enjoyable than Richard Powers, that's for sure. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't think I'm going to be starting anything new unless the mood strikes me. There's a lot of things I'm interested in. And one thing I've been doing is reading up with my, the things I subscribe to. So looking at the Times Literary Supplement, which I do love, and kind of saving some reviews I want to look at. And then I looked at, I'm also subscribed to the Paris Review, which I didn't do much with this time. And then I looked at the London Review of Books, which I haven't found anything completely interesting there yet, or in a while. But maybe it's, I think what I spent so much time with the TLS that I got kind of tired of, and it was all online. I got kind of tired, and then I couldn't give all of my attention to the London Review. And right now I'm not subscribed to the New York Review of Books. I am subscribed to the New Yorker, and I save things, and actually those are things I could listen to. Sometimes you can listen to those stories, so maybe I'll do that. So I'm trying to remember to one that I listened to a while ago, but I've forgotten. I forgot what it was, sorry. Yeah, I'm a little frazzled from the first day of teaching. Yeah, so everything's going well. I sort of attempted a vlog over the weekend, and then I wasn't happy with it because I was making silly mistakes and just kind of ditched it all. But at some point, I will be inspired to do another vlog or something. We'll see how things go. Hope everyone's doing well. Have you read Bewilderment? What were your thoughts on it? I have a feeling it is a beloved book, so I apologize that I was not knocked off by my socks by it. Tell me what you're reading. I love the emoji hi, and I feel the same way. I should do that more with other people's videos. I dip into other people's videos, but I haven't been able to watch a lot because of work. So, and also because I always think, well, I have to get to my reading. I'm sure some of you are the same way. The kind of balancing the watching and the reading, and there's so many channels and all that good stuff, and so many tags and all that stuff that I don't really do. Anyway, I will sign off for this week, and I will see you next week. Happy reading. Bye-bye.